One question, one story, one continent. This is your podcast, Africa Daily, with me, Alan Kasuja. Podcasts from the BBC World Service are supported by advertising. I can't remember the last time I had a brand new note in my wallet. You know what I'm talking about. Crisp paper, funny smell, no creases, crying to be spent. I'm so used to swiping my card every time I pay for stuff. I almost forgot how much joy it gives me to hold a new bill in my hand. If you're in Zimbabwe or heading there, my friend, you're in for a treat. There's a new banknote doing the rounds, 50 Zimbabwean dollars. The highest one, it's worth about 60 cents in US dollars. I looked it up online. On the back, there's a picture of 3 granite rocks finely balanced on top of each other. They are a national symbol, a metaphor for Zimbabwe's development after independence. And this banknote, well, it's leaving some people anxious. That's because they're worried that, unlike those rocks, Zimbabwe's economy is becoming unbalanced. Prices are rising and rising fast. In June, the inflation rate was over 100%. And of course, this means families are feeling the pinch. And it's not just that. This situation is taking them back in time to 2006, 2007, 2008, when Zimbabwe went through a period of hyperinflation, meaning prices rose so rapidly and by so much that buying a simple thing like a loaf of bread, well, it would cost you millions, even billions of Zimbabwean dollars. Imagine having to load a supermarket trolley with bills, with notes, just to pay for your shopping. Which is why today I'm asking, so is Zimbabwe about to return to those days? What does a new banknote tell you about the state of the economy? I'm Alan Kasuja, and this is Africa Daily.
My name is Rangamberi. I'm an economic reporter.
Ranga is going to help me explain all this.
I do business stories, we report on the economy and on policies that affect the economy mostly.
How much cash do you have on you right now?
Well, right now, let me just check in my wallet. I think I've got $10 in my wallet. No Zimbabwean dollars cash, but I've got a bit of money in my mobile money wallet on my phone.
Almost goes without saying, but when he's talking about mobile money, he's talking about moving money around using your mobile phone, your mobile wallet, paying for stuff, transferring money. You know the drill.
We've got 3 types of money in Zimbabwe, basically. So if I were to go into a shop today, I would use my Zimbabwean dollars that's in my wallet, in my mobile money wallet. I wouldn't use Zimbabwean dollars cash because I don't have any. And I wouldn't use US dollars cash either because of the formal rate. I would have to pay much more than I would have if I didn't use my Zimbabwean dollars.
Why don't you have Zimbabwean dollars cash?
It's very hard to find Zimbabwean dollars cash. What has happened in Zimbabwe so far is that they've made the Zimbabwean dollars very hard to find. Zimbabwean dollars are very scarce.
Okay, so they do not want to create inflation, so they're controlling how much money is in circulation.
Yes, what they have is a system where of all the money in circulation, about 10% of that is in cash, in terms of Zimbabwean dollars cash.
Do you have a credit card?
Not a credit card, but here they just call it a bank card. It's a debit card. You just get your salary into your bank, and then you use your bank card to make your payments at the supermarket or at the toll gate.
So is this bank card tied to, say, Visa or MasterCard?
No, this is what happens in Zimbabwe. If you want a Visa or a MasterCard that you can use outside the country, you have to make a special application from your bank. And it has to be funded by you directly using United States dollars into a United States dollar account. But you cannot use a Zimbabwe dollar account for Visa and MasterCard and so forth.
It sounds hectic, man.
Yeah, it does sound hectic, but for Zimbabweans, we're used to it.
They might be used to this crazy money situation, but that doesn't mean that they like it. In fact, this new $50 note is pretty triggering for a lot of Zimbabweans.
What it has done is to create fear in people because, in my generation, we've experienced hyperinflation twice. And you can't say that about a lot of countries because we experienced hyperinflation around 2008, and then we experienced hyperinflation around 2019 as well. So what this has done is to totally collapse our faith in everything that has to do with money.
Let's take a step back. Give me a history lesson on what happened leading up to the crazy numbers we saw in 2008 and thereabouts, when the $100 trillion Zimbabwean note was worth about 40 cents US.
No Zimbabwean wants to relive that period, to be honest. What happened is that because of the collapse of the economy, the Zimbabwean dollar collapsed starting from 1997. This is when the government decided that it was going to pay $50,000 each to about 50,000 war veterans. And then there was also the controversy around the takeover of farms.
Back in the early 2000s, many white farmers were forced, often violently, to leave their land. The then President Robert Mugabe wanted it handed over to black Zimbabweans. He saw this as a way to right the wrongs of British colonialism. But critics say this policy massively backfired, and that's because all of a sudden not as much food was being produced anymore.
In the spin-off of everything that happened, the economy started collapsing starting from 2000, and then there were bad elections in 2000, bad elections in 2002. So the governments just started printing money because there was no international support for the budget.
This is Robert Mugabe speaking at a UN Food Summit in 2008.
Retaliation for the measures we took to empower the black majority, the United Kingdom has mobilized her friends and allies in Europe, North America, Australia, and New Zealand to impose illegal economic sanctions against Zimbabwe.
By the time we got to 2008, 2007, it was really hard. I remember in 2007, the government just decided that, you know what, prices are far too high. If a shop is selling a shirt for $100, you should cut your prices by half. And obviously it didn't work because shops started closing.
Someone told me that they went into restaurants and paid for the meal they ordered for as soon as they ordered it, because apparently by the time they were done eating that meal, the price might have changed. Is this true, or is this one of the many urban myths that come out of these sorts of situations?
It could be true, it could be false, but let me tell you my experiences. I think you would go into a shop, and while you're in a queue, and you pick up all the stuff that you need and you put it in your basket, and you wait in the queue at the till. By the time you get to the till, the price that you saw on the shelf has changed. Supermarkets just stopped putting prices on the shop shelves.
I don't know how people can run business like that. I don't even know how you could survive in a world like that.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of businesses didn't survive that period. This is where a lot of our people left the country, and millions have gone outside the country because it was just not working for a lot of businesses.
So how did Zimbabwe get out of that situation?
Well, in January 2009, I think people just decided, look, this can't continue. We just have to bite the bullet and do something that we never wanted to do. Let's just get rid of the Zimbabwe dollar. Let's adopt the US dollar and other currencies. So from 2009, we started using the US dollars, the rand from South Africa, and other currencies. That period brought some stability, but there were, of course, good and bad sides of that, because while inflation overnight just disappeared, a lot of businesses started suffering because they were using United States dollars, which was a strong currency. People started figuring out, look, hang on, in the end, we just need our own local currency. So that process of getting back to a local currency that people can trust is still the journey that we're on at the moment.
This new 50 Zimbabwean dollar note, officially, if you're going with standard market rates, it's worth about 60 cents in US currency, right? Problem is, generally speaking, only businesses can access the official market.
For the rest of us, if I want to get access to US dollars, for instance, I have to go to a street corner to get a street dealer to sell me, foreign currency, or I speak to someone in the black market who knows how to sell big amounts of foreign currency. So because a lot of us cannot get access to the formal market, most of us really have to get access on the black market in terms of foreign currency. The $50 note is about 38 cents on the black market, and it's about 58 cents on the official rate.
So, what about if you've got any savings? Do you trust the bank?
That's one of the big questions. People just don't trust the banks enough to deposit their free money. So what people now have, there's a joke that says there's the mattress NMB. There's a bank, the biggest bank in the country is called the NMB, which is called the National Mattress Bank of Zimbabwe, because people keep their money, under the mattresses and so forth. Because of past trauma, I think between 2002 and 2008, we had a lot of bank closures, and you just show up at your bank and the bank has closed.
And this is people like you who earn a salary, people like you who have access to some cash. I wonder about people in a village somewhere. What is their life like?
What has happened since 2012 in Zimbabwe is the rise of mobile money. Most people actually use mobile money than they use cash.
What does your crystal ball tell you about the future?
Well, strangely, I'm really hopeful. I think what has happened over the last year, July last year, our inflation was over 800%. Now we are at 107 or so percent, which is still, massive inflation. But given where we've been and given what we've seen before, I think I'm a bit hopeful that if they don't print more money than is necessary, we can still see inflation coming down. They're thinking maybe around 20-25% towards the end of the year. And we've had a fairly good agricultural season. And because a lot of our inflation comes from the food prices, it's very possible that we might have food prices not as high as they were, I think, 2 years ago when we had 2 consecutive droughts. But still, we've got a long, long way to go in terms of developing the trust that we need in the economy to be able to build it to where we think it should be.
So how much is this improvement down to the political situation in Zimbabwe under President Mnangagwa?
Well, the numbers do speak. I think the big hallmark economically of Mugabe's rule was, the $100 million note.
It was 100 trillion, actually, not 100 million.
You see, I can't even remember anymore. I think that was the peak of the crisis under Robert Mugabe. I don't want to say that Mnangagwa has done better or worse. And I'm not saying that because out of fear or anything, because I think we're in a transition. What the finance minister, Mthuli has been able to do is over the last year managed to control money supply to the extent that inflation has started coming down. Companies that are putting out their financial results, they are quite hopeful for the next year. So in terms of that area, I think the government can be commended for having done well. But I think they've done terribly in some areas in terms of human rights, in terms of corruption. But in terms of managing the economy, they've done far better than personally I expected. But what the people want to see is money in their pockets. What people want to see is food on the table. And as long as that has not yet happened, it's very hard to say that he's done better than Mugabe at the moment. No.
It's worth saying at this point, Zimbabwe's finance minister says he expects the inflation rate to go down to 25% by the end of this year. A tall order. In June, it was about 106%. The minister has also said Zimbabwe's economy is on a strong rebound and that it could emerge stronger than other countries in Southern Africa after the pandemic is over. Africa Daily is a BBC World Service production. Special thanks to Rangamberi for coming on the show. Rosie Blunt and Marco Silva produced this episode, and Kevin Silverton is our editor. If you're dying to share a story with us, there's a couple of ways you can do it. By email, the address is africadaily@bbc.co.uk. On your socials, the hashtag is Africa Daily. And if you want to speak to me directly, just come and find me on Twitter. I'm Alan Kasuja. My handle, Kasuja, 2 J's. I'm sure you know that by now.
How do you solve a complex human problem?
These once beautiful lakes have been bursting into flames.
Maybe you look for the answer in millions of years of evolution.
This is an animal with an incredible superpower.
30 Animals That Made Us Smarter is the podcast that looks at how innovations in nature have inspired amazing feats of human engineering.
The invention of the electric battery was inspired by the electric eel.
And I'm back with season 2. 30 more animals and 30 more amazing stories.
You are in for a treat.
30 Animals That Made Us Smarter from the BBC World Service. Search for 30 Animals That Made Us Smarter wherever you get your podcasts.